Welcome to Inside. Welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind with your hosts, Jay Harmon and Sally Barnard. Jay and Sally have always wondered what the inspiration is that drives others to create and express their art. Inside the Artist's Mind, we'll dive into the mind of the artist and teach us more than we ever knew. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind. My name is Jay Harmon, and my assistant here is Sally Barnard.
Hi, everybody.
And we are here for another episode, an exciting episode of Inside the Artist's Mind, where we talk to our guests who are creative people and who are can be performers, can be artists. And today our special guest is Justin McNeill, who is the member. He's a member of Beatlemania, and he plays Ringo.
I am so excited to be talking to you. The Beatles, I lived in London from about 10 minutes away from where Abbey Road was, where the Beatles studio. Yeah. So I can't wait for this show.
Oh, this is great. I'm such a big Beatle fan. See, I wear my Beatle shirt, and I grew up with the Beatles, and they were
Me
probably
too.
my favorite group.
We're giving our age. Me too. I grew up.
That's okay. I don't mind.
Nice to meet everyone. And I've been here before 2 weeks ago, and I had a nice time. And nice to be here again. That's not my real voice. I'm just saying.
That was good. Great.
Oh yeah, it's nice to be here. I like the environment. I like the show. I have been listening to the show. I've seen you on other shows and stuff. I enjoy it, and I'm trying to get back into the scene because I'm retired now.
So you're
Yeah.
the drummer in.
Yeah, I was in the Broadway show at the Winter Garden. We played there for 4 years,
Oh wow.
and then we went on the road for like another 20 years.
Uh-huh.
Am I on?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So tell us a little bit about what that was like being with the with the Broadway show.
yeah, when I tried out for the show, I we didn't know what it was for. There was an ad in the Village Voice, and it said for a unique experience, call Mrs. Price, and it was in the Village Voice, and there was a picture of Paul McCartney. I have it in my scrapbooks, and it's just like this, Paul McCartney. And it had to do with the Beatles. It says you have to sound alike or look alike. Well, I don't look like Ringo, but I could do the Beatles, so they were one of my favorite bands growing up, since Ed Sullivan, along with millions of other people who saw them. So I had just graduated from college, and I was trying to play jazz fusion music, which is very advanced, and I'm trying to keep up with that. But I always studied the Beatles, as a kid. When I was in high school, I used to listen to all their records.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I would listen to I would take the day off, say I'm sick or something, and I would listen to every record in sequence. And but when the 10 albums finished already, it's the end of the end school day was over anyway, and I'm home listening to the records. That little did I know that was going to help me
Uh-huh.
in the auditions, which I thought at first I thought it was for a TV commercial. And they kept telling us to come back, callbacks. I said, I wonder what this is for, because I wasn't working at that time. I was looking for work, but the Beatles, had to do with the Beatles, and I love the Beatles. So I tried out, and then after 3 weeks, they finally told us it's going to be for a Broadway show. I was totally shocked.
Wow. All right.
So I was like 21, 22 years old, and they said, the Broadway show will happen. We don't know if you're going to be the ones that are going to be in the original cast because they
Right.
tried out like 2,000 people in New York, 2,000 people in L.A. and stuff like that. And actually, so we didn't know. They said, "But you're good. So you'll be in the show somehow." And then they started giving me my our paychecks just to rehearse, paid to rehearse, and we rehearsed at SIR Studios. This is one of the top studio. It's called Studio Instrument Rentals. It's one of the top places to rehearse. People rehearse there for shows they're doing, Madison Square Garden, whatever. So I met a lot of bands. We rehearsed there for 9 months.
Oh, wow.
But every day, new people would come in front of us and do an audition. And there was some Ringos that looked just like Ringo.
That must have been so interesting seeing them show up.
Yeah.
Well, that,
Yeah, I met a lot of bands. I can get into that later. I have a book. I'm trying to get a book out. I wrote 3 chapters, and a lawyer submitted it to St. Martin's Press, but it was 5-3. It was close to getting done. So maybe
You had
someday
some very
I'll make a book
interesting
out of it. But
stories, right?
yeah, the name of the title right now is "The Making of a Beatle."
the making of a
What-
Beatle.
what-
Okay.
That's
what it feels like,
interesting.
you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
just the
remember
title
that.
alone,
Yeah.
right?
And anyway, we rehearsed like for 9 months because we were trying to get the funding. And we rehearsed for a lot of people, Dick Clark, Robert Stigwood, a lot of people. And every day people would come in to audition. And sometimes there was guys that came in, they looked just like Ringo. They said, I guess that's it for me, I'll be an understudy or something. But they couldn't play the drums, or some of them could play the drums, but, I don't know, they were off tempo or something,
Right.
So they keep putting the 4 of us together, we were gelling, the 4 of us, when we first met. And I think I mentioned this before, but it was like instantaneous, because like, that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yes, absolutely.
4 total strangers.
Right.
But they all know the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got real comfortable, So, but still, the producers of the show, Lieber and Krebs, they managed Aerosmith at that time. Aerosmith,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they managed a lot of other groups too. That was the biggest one at that time. I have some, like, when I think about this, I think about other stories related to that, but I'm trying to stay on. It's so intense, like, stuff that happened every day. So anyway, they even told me, like, that we don't know if you're going to be the one on Broadway, but we kept getting tighter, and nobody. So after 7 months, this is back in the late '70s, so the money's different, right? So Columbia Records put in $1.5 million, and Aerosmith put in $500,000.
In those days.
So
that
now,
was
the
quite
band.
a lot.
So now we had enough money to do a Broadway show. But now a Broadway show costs like what, 10 million, 20 million?
Right.
Now, yeah.
But that's back then, So then the show, and then they said, okay, you guys are going to be the 4. And then, but I had to keep my mouth shut because you're not.
That must have been so exciting for
Yeah,
you
so
at
I
that
lived
point,
in Long
right?
Island. At that time, I used to take the railroad in, and I walked through the streets and stuff. And one of the people I took the railroad with was one of the guys that was in Aerosmith. He lived in Long Island too, but and it was kind of weird. But anyway, finally when it came out, we played Boston, like I told you before, and we did 37 songs. And then we had to cut it down to 29 because it's too long. The show was too long, and we had to do songs that appeals to the whole spectrum of people from 8 years old to 80. So that's
Yeah.
it was like some of the songs I did that were the ballads. Like I told you, wasn't one of my favorite songs, but it appeals to somebody out there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then we did some rockers.
Yeah, you do it for the audience, right? You
Right,
don't,
right,
yeah.
right. And the thing is, like, to me, I was not nervous when I tried out because I was in a different type of drumming. I went to music in art high school, and I studied drums, and I also studied drums with Carmine Apiece, the Vanilla Fudge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he lives down here now, but he used to live in Oceanside, Long Island, and I took private lessons with him at his house. And then after that, I studied with Eric Singer, who was the drummer for the last 25 years with Kiss.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go
all
up his
these
house in
names
LA.
from the past.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I can still call him up right now if I want. But
Now-
he moved out to LA. He moved out to Vegas now.
When you were taking lessons and everything and all this, is there a particular style that Ringo had that you had to acquire for this?
Yeah, Ringo plays for the song. He's a song stylist. There's drummers out there like Buddy Rich and jazz fusion drummers.
Right.
They have a certain style of technical stuff. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with the melody of the song. It's just the technical stuff, and you appreciate that.
Yeah.
But the Beatles, they played pop songs, not technical, but to appeal to your soul.
Uh-huh.
The lyrics and everything, and the music was actually simpler, but that's the genius of it because it's so simple that
Right.
everybody can remember the song.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like
Yeah.
this is not a Beatles song. This is a solo song. But like Paul McCartney wrote a song, "Open the door, let him in."
Right.
something like
Right,
that.
yes,
But you remember the lyric.
remember,
It's
yeah.
and the melody,
right.
the simplicity of that, and it carries to everybody.
I know.
That's more appealing
Yeah.
than drummers that I like that are like
Did
Buddy
you
Rich and stuff like that.
yeah.
personally get to meet them?
We gave tickets to all of them, but they claimed they didn't come.
They didn't?
They might have come incognito because they're known to show up incognito because they don't want to be
They don't want to be
mobbed and stuff. But
recognized,
yeah,
right?
but I gave tickets to Ringo and sent the officer, and he gave it to Mick Fleetwood, the drummer for
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
Fleetwood
they had the
Mac,
number one album
yeah.
at that time, the Rumors album. And
Uh-huh.
he came twice to see us, 2 days in a row, and I used to get a lot of compliments, right? But he told me that out of all the Ringos, the Ringo, I was the closest to the Ringo.
To
But
Ringo.
it's coming from him. He at that time he was married to George's sister, I think. Their family. But he told me that. I was like,
Oh,
"You're-
really?
You're
Yeah.
the closest of. But coming from him, that's different,
That's
So you-
great that you
Yeah,
could you could play like you could
So
play
you
like
basi-
Ringo. That
right. You
Yeah, but,
basically played the
so-
drums, but you didn't sing.
No, I sang.
Someone?
Oh, I sing Ringo. So actually, I do sing when I play other Beatle tribute bands. With tribute bands, I do 6 Ringo songs. But in the Broadway show, for time constraints, I only did
Right.
a little help from my friends.
Which
So they
is
wanna do-
beautiful. Every one you mentioned is a
Yeah, another
beautiful
one.
song. Yeah.
Should I talk more with an English accent? Who's that?
Well, that's me. I have the English accent.
But yeah, so that was a long time ago, actually. But it's always a part of me.
Well,
right?
it's a part of who you are and what
and
you've
yeah,
done.
because
right.
at my age, I feel like I was talking to you before. I feel like I've lived like 3 different lives
Oh, right.
in my time
right.
span.
I think a lot of us are like that. That we've
Yeah,
lived
totally
different. I see. I like to divide my
Definitely
my
myself.
life up
right.
into chapters.
Right.
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
and
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
It's like, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, and
I
I'm-
can
I'm-
definitely relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had great, exciting times, and
So
then
did
we
you,
had
was the group, did they all stay, your group that you were with, they
we were
stayed
together for like
or-
4 years, and then we went our separate ways. Like most rock bands don't last together, except the Rolling Stones and for the most part the Who. But I mean, a lot of times what keeps you together is the money is really good.
Did you
Oh, yeah.
continue to
Yeah,
do
of
what you were
course.
doing? And there was another group of people, or you always just?
Oh no,
doing-
yeah. After the show was a hit at
Right.
the Winter Garden, we went to L.A. and Chicago to open up those Broadway places.
Right.
And then another band would take over. So eventually there was 10 bands.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
you,
but we were the original. So like, I'm in the trivia books. If you look at Bill Harry's Beatles from A to Z, you probably have that book.
Okay. Yeah, I believe I do.
Yeah, page 64. We're on it. A picture with our names. And also, if you go to the any library in the world, well, I don't know about in the United States, and go to the reference section, is the Theater World 1977 or 78. Page 5, picture of me and the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the other bands they're good too, but they don't have their names in the books, you know.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible when you think about it, how many people have been doing the Beatles or Beatlemania as you're doing, that this group was so successful?
Well,
I
this
mean, I
was-
was on a cruise last year. We had the Beatles.
So
and-
you would say that you were probably the original Beatle cover group.
Right. That's what we were. And then, but there's a lot of Beatle bands, and there's a lot of good Ringos that I've
Yes,
seen now,
right.
and there's a lot of good Beatle bands. But my name is in the books. So
Yeah.
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 Well, you were one of the originals to do that.
That's what my little.
That's
and
quite-
I'm in a Beatles trivia book too.
Are you?
Yeah, page. Who was the star of the Beatlemania show? You know, STAA.
ARR.
right? And
So
then you go
bas-
to page 150. Justin
Oh,
McNeill. You know.
yeah.
Basically, this all started
is
from
something anyway,
an
yeah.
audition that you went to when you were 22, as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear from what you
Yeah,
just
so
said.
you know,
right?
I'll always have that. You know,
That's
I've gained good
incredible.
friends with Pete Best. I don't know, you know
Oh, really?
Pete Best? Yeah, yeah. I met him at conventions and stuff, and
Yeah.
real nice guy.
Yeah.
Very,
I'm trying.
very low key. You know.
Yeah. Pete Best was for those of you who don't know, Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles.
Yeah.
And their manager, was it?
Yeah, Brian Epstein.
Brian Epstein.
Brian
Brian
Epstein.
Epstein. Brian Epstein.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe I'm so bad with names, but I remember the Beatles manager. Right.
So,
Yeah.
So you want to know? Oh yeah. So some of the bands we met at SIR, we met everybody. Carly Simon. They would come in to see us. Kiss. I think I mentioned that before. Actually, I went to high school with Paul Stanley of Kiss.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, we were in the
So
same
you knew
homeroom
him.
class. Oh, somebody that I didn't mention from the last show I was here, that was also in my homeroom class. I went to music and art high school, so half the hours that you spend there is doing orchestra, playing in an orchestra. So this guy, we weren't friends. He was an oboe player, and I'm not in classical music, and I was into the Beatles and Cream and whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but he was in our room, right? And he was an oboe player, and he wrote a book on his autobiography of his life, and it's Barry Sonnenfeld. You ever see those Back in Black, Men in Black?
Men in
Yes,
Black, yeah.
He directed all those movies.
You're
Yeah,
interested?
and he's done a lot of other movies, but those are the only ones I remember offhand. But he was just like a nerdy guy, oboe player. I have nothing in common with him.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious that you played the drums, but when
Yeah.
what age did you start playing?
Right after the Ed Sullivan Show, I started.
But you had no
Oh, really?
idea.
So that was kind of
you-
your inspiration,
yeah.
was the Sullivan Show?
Yeah, well, my inspiration to play the drums and have fun with
Right.
it was the Beatles, right? But I didn't plan on being a drummer. But when I was in music and art high school, I went to see the Vanilla Fudge at Fordham University. Are you from New York?
Okay.
And Richie Havens was opening up, and in the middle of the show with the Vanilla Fudge, Carmine Appice takes a drum solo, and the audience went wild. I said, "Oh, that's what I want to do." He's the one that made me. If he ever listens to this, he lives down here now in Florida. Anyway, he's the one that made me want to be a drummer, but Ringo made me want to fool around with the drums,
So
Yeah.
this was before you went for this audition. That you
Oh, yeah,
decided-
this is high
so-
school.
Right.
This is
so
high
then
school,
you
yeah.
go for the audition.
Yeah, then
and
I went.
there you
I
are.
graduated from Hunter College, and I
Right.
majored in history.
Okay.
And
In history. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting because now the
interesting.
Beatles are part of history.
oh yeah,
That was good.
I think that's,
well done, Jay. Yes.
so,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
keep it on the music level because my history degree, I learned a lot of stuff about the world. Had nothing to do with
Right.
the Beatles. Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, I didn't want to be a teacher. I could have been a teacher. So I started looking around in different bands, and I was trying to get a band with my brother. I have a twin brother, and he got a degree in music. And we were trying to do a jazz fusion band. We weren't making any money, so that ad came up for the Beatles, and I figured, let me just try it out. Actually, I was really depressed, and I saw that ad in the Village Voice. I turned to the page and it said, "Call this up." I said, "Oh, Beatles, I know." That's the other thing. When I tried out for the show, a lot of people that tried out, they were nervous. Beatles. I wasn't nervous. I was doing other technical types of stuff, but I love the music, and I kind of knew like it backwards and forwards already.
right.
I wasn't nervous, so that helped. When you're trying out, and they see that you're not really nervous.
Right.
Having
right.
fun with it.
That's,
Yeah.
that
So,
was great. So you, well, that helps a lot that you weren't really nervous.
Yeah, I was having fun
do
with it because
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was going to lead to. I didn't know it was going to be a Broadway show. I thought it was going to be maybe a TV
Which I talk
commercial or
about
something.
on my other show about your passion. When you follow your passion, things will fall into place.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which you were doing from an early age. You were doing
But
what
I
you
met-
wanted to do.
I was talking to William Steele when I met him. You met him, right? He says, "Oh, you're so humble and stuff." Yeah. I met so many musicians that are very, very talented, and drummers too, that are like better than me. Play. But they play clubs and they're fantastic. But I'm the one that has the little bit of, so that humbles you. You just realize how lucky you are.
So, Justin, you're still playing the drums?
Yeah, I still play, but
Where do you play?
No, I'm
Just
not
in-
playing in any band right. I just fill in. I filled in
Okay.
for a Beatle band, remain nameless right now. They're from Florida. I filled in for them, and I filled in for another one too. Another the year before that. But their drummer was sick or something.
So you do
I filled in.
fill-ins?
Yeah, but I mean, I just step in there and do it.
Yeah,
That's weird though, because like I could just step on the drums and do it, even if I haven't played. I know the song so much.
Yeah, I saw a couple of years ago. I'm not sure the name of the group, but it was a Beatles cover band. I went to the concert, and
Rain? Was it Rain?
I don't think it was Rain. It
The
was
Fab Four?
Might be.
Yeah, those guys are good.
but
I
they-
know
they
the
did-
good ones. They're really good ones.
They did a fantastic job. They did the entire second side of Abbey Road.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was probably the Fab Four, FAUX, the Fab Four.
I think that
They
might
were like
that might
they're
be
not
it,
in
but-
costume, right?
Yeah,
Their bass player is Will Lee. He's a real famous
okay. Because
studio bass
because
player.
it was so good, they had it beat for beat the whole,
Yeah.
the whole second side of the
Yeah.
Abbey Road. And,
They're phenomenal, and another phenomenal band. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good bands out there, so I'm just. My only thing was that we were the first ones. That's it.
I know that's
But,
great.
I mean, 'cause
Somebody.
the Beatles music is really simple. So if you get decent guys that can play the Beatles songs, people are gonna like it, even if it's not note for note like Fab Four.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody gets sick, I can fill in, but I don't really want to do it full time anymore.
So I
Yeah.
was just going to say you do it
Yeah,
part-time
I'm
still,
trying to get
right?
into acting now, which is really hard to do. So I did a short film that's coming out. I don't know when, but it's finished. I play a mob guy. I like film noir movies. I like The Sopranos. I like
We've been watching that
Raging Bull and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah, Freddie would love that. Because that's his.
yeah, I'm trying to get into that, but I mean, it's really hard to break into. But I'm getting a little bit of. I got 2 agents now in Florida. Donna Kay from Famous Faces. If you watch this, I mentioned your name, and I also have Burton Robinson up in Punta Gorda, Florida.
So do you live full-time in Florida?
Yeah,
or
that's another story. Okay.
Oh.
I
That's
was on
why
the
I
road a
asked the
lot.
question, right?
Okay, yeah, let's,
I'm a New Yorker. The 4 of
Yeah.
us were wound up being all from New York.
Uh-huh.
But now we all live in different places. The Paul guy, he lives in Washington State, near Seattle, north of
Okay, near
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah.
The George guy lives in Denver, and he also has a house in Coronado, Panama, looking over the Pacific.
Oh wow.
And the John guy lives upstate New York. And I was on the road and doing different cities, and I was playing a convention in Akron, Ohio. And that's the first time I met Pete Best there. Don't worry. And I met someone there, and I didn't know who she was. We got along, and then a week later, I was in upstate New York, and she was there too. I said, "Oh, I thought you lived in Akron, Ohio." And she goes, "No, I live in Miami." I said, "Wait a minute, how do you go to all these places?" She goes, "I'm a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines, and on my days off, I can fly for free."
Right.
Oh.
So, I liked her and everything. So I said, well, as a lark, I said, well, I'm in New York, but if you want to come up and have a date with me, you can come on. And she goes, okay. So she flew up, and we went to a Broadway show. We saw Cuba and the Teddy Bear, the Robert De Niro, and then we went to the Hard Rock and all this and that. And then I had a nice time. And then she got on the plane, came back, went back to Miami. Never had that experience before, right? And then this is fate. 2 weeks later, I get a call from an agent. Actually, it was one of the Beatle guys, but the agent wanted me. They wanted me to do, and at that point in time, I had never been to Florida. Never been to Florida. They called me to do 30 days in South Florida. So I went down and I hung out with her.
In
And
Miami.
the rest is
History?
yeah. In 1987, I took my car with everything I can get in, drove down I-95
And you
all the way
came
down
to-
here, and I've been here since 1987.
I beat you. I've been here since 1979.
So.
Oh yeah, cool.
So what finally happened with you and the flight attendant?
Oh yeah, we got married. and
That's
have
why I
two
said the
daughters,
rest
yeah.
is history because
Yeah,
I think you had
I have two
mentioned that,
daughters,
right?
and one of my daughters was born in 1992, and I started working at American Airlines more because there's a steady job and millions of other bands, and but I still was doing on and off gigs. But American Airlines is a steady job, and I got a family now, so I had a daughter in 1990, but in 1992. We had another daughter, right? And right now she's a flight attendant for American Airlines.
Is that right?
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, she wasn't even born when I was.
Right. So you must do a lot of flying on American
Yeah,
Airlines,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
She's got her own little story. She had a boyfriend in New Zealand. He was in the New Zealand Army. And then she had one in England. you never know what's going to work out. But I mean, it gets around, man. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's wonderful. But Well, anyway, back to the Beatles, right? Yeah.
Well,
So
it's interesting to hear about you too, right?
Well, we just, like I said, I grew up loving the Beatles, and I've got a few of their vinyl original albums, and I just, and in fact, I've still got some 45s before they were even with Apple. I don't even know what
yeah.
what the label was at the time, but
Yeah.
I was always a big fan of that. So I'm sure you probably were too if you
Yeah.
if you
I know
followed that.
when I was in music and art high school, the teachers told me that geniuses that have a special genius to them, they're very
Well, there's
simple.
something
They're
because
very simple people.
Right. Right.
Like Paul McCartney, when you see
Yeah,
him
but
when
they
he
had
talks.
some sort of charisma.
Yeah.
I mean, for them,
Yeah.
they became so famous in England.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah,
from
but I
London,
mean,
yeah.
he's real
Right,
real simple
amazing.
person. Like, but he has that. He
There's
has
something,
He's
you
charismatic,
got it. You
yeah,
don't have to.
star quality.
That's it. That's what I think. That's what made him outstanding. Is that
Did you have a I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you have a favorite
Yeah,
Beatle?
my favorite Beatle was Paul McCartney. That's all.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
it.
Mine was John
This
Lennon.
thing is ongoing.
Really?
So when I tried out for the show, I knew there was going to be a lot of people trying out, and at that time I was living in Valley Stream at that time. I had just moved from the Bronx, and I was into numerology. So the Beatles, right? You try to do me as much as you can. So I used numerology and I changed my name because my birth name is Joel Nunez, and I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican from the Bronx. So I didn't want to go in there and say that. So I changed it to Justin McNeill. I said, I'm Justin McNeill. Want to try out for the show? So it just looks more, because I don't
Yeah.
look like anybody. So so that became my stage name. And then when they finally started paying us 3 months later, to get to rehearse, I had to tell them, well, that's not really my name. I just used that as but
a lot
it
of people have stage
it
names.
became my real name though. I changed it legally to Justin McNeill. But there's a guy in my class who did the same thing in a different. The guy from Kiss, his real name is Stanley Eisen. But when they were going to make records, he says, I don't want to be Stanley Eisen. I want to be something that sounds more generic.
Right.
So he changed it to Paul Stanley, and the reason he changed it to Paul because his favorite Beatle was Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney,
Yeah,
yeah.
my favorite Beatle was Paul McCartney too. So that's why I used the MC.
Yeah.
When you think-
it's
Well, different
interesting
music, but yeah.
because Ringo Starr, that's not his.
Oh yeah, right.
That. What was his original name?
Richard Starkey.
Richard Starkey.
It's
Yeah.
funny how you think how they choose your names. I mean, just hearing the Beatles and Kiss. I mean, how different could you be? But
Right.
they were both very, very
But
well-known
it was,
groups.
there
it's
were
just
so many
yeah,
that were
so many
of that
yeah,
era.
Yeah.
And
We were just talking about one before, ABBA. Remember ABBA? Yeah,
Yeah,
And-
but unbelievable.
and-
They offered them $1 billion and they turned it down
really.
to play to reunite. And they said no.
They didn't want to do that.
They already got the. I don't
I
know what's
guess-
another dollar to them. I guess
Oh,
they got that
wow.
much money. Oh, that's the other thing. All these Beatle bands, they do pretty good, but the reason they don't get sued is because even though they do good, they don't make the money that the Broadway show made.
Yeah.
Like the Broadway show in the late '70s, that it made around $55 million, which in today's days is like close to $300 million. So they knew that's good money, and then we'll sue them when it's the right time, But these bands, they don't make that type of money. So, they make good money. But I mean, the Beatles,
Yeah.
even today, they make $250,000 in royalties from their Beatles
just
songs.
from
Not what they're doing now. Just they collect
Yeah.
BMI and ASCAP. They collect their royalties every week, every month, or whatever, and it's always that type of money. But it's like money in the bank,
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are they going to sue these tribute bands that are,
Yeah.
they didn't make, we were like close to making whatever they made, So
It's funny because if you
Yeah.
talk to the kids today, they know who the Beatles are.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's not too many groups,
Right.
really, when you think about it. That was an
Yeah.
amazing group.
And
Yeah.
actually, Ringo's the most famous drummer in the world,
Ringo, yeah.
and there's a lot of great drummers, but he's the most famous. You walk down the street, most like 9 out of 10, they know who Ringo is, but they won't know who Billy Cobham is or
Right.
Dave Weckl or Buddy Rich.
I-
They go, oh no, oh Ringo, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know,
They'd know Ringo.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody would.
I think we're coming to
know
the
really.
last part of the show.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
just inform
Okay.
me. So
Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this up.
Oh, yeah,
but
go ahead, whatever.
it
I
has
could talk
been
forever.
such a-
That's the thing I'm trying to hold down because if you ask me one question, I'm thinking of 10 other things related
we'd
to that.
love
and I
to
have
hear
hold it
you,
down.
but
you know,
unfortunately, we just have a
Oh, yeah,
limited
yeah.
amount
Just like the
of
Broadway show. I had to cut it
time.
down to
but we
29
could.
songs.
We'd love to have you back again.
Definitely.
And we just would like to thank everybody for watching the show today. And we do this every week, and we try to get as many creative and very interesting people for you all to watch and get to know a little bit better. And that's what kind of our theme is.
Yes,
right?
we work. And as you always say, an artist is an artist. Be them an actor, a singer, a drummer. And so
Whatever kind of
yeah,
artist.
so hope they enjoyed
we
the
like
show
to talk
today.
to, and that's what we got. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show today, and please watch us again next week. And thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Yes.
I love that accent.
Thank you for watching Inside the Artist's Mind. We hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week as we explore more about the artist's passions and inspirations.